G'day folks, Wren here, and today we're going to do the overlooked book tag. So this tag was created by the lovely Kirsty from Bookish, and as I'm filming this, she is getting on a plane to come see me. I'm so excited. She'll be here in like 24 hours because it's a long flight from England to Australia. So I thought in honor of her, I would finally do the overlooked book tag. There are a bunch of questions. I haven't looked at them, but the goal of this tag is to kind of shed some light on the minor characters or the other books or stuff like that, you know, not the main one, but like the second one. Question number 1, your favorite secondary / minor characters. Ooh. I mean, but like, does it count? Oh no, I'm so sorry, all my books. Does Rocky from Project Hail Mary count? Because I mean, he's not technically the main character. I'm gonna go with this, okay? Because Rocky. So Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. It's a sci-fi novel. Guy alone in space has to save the world. Meets an alien to help him. Alien looks like a really big spider and his name is Rocky. And Rocky is everything. If Rocky wasn't in this book, this wouldn't be nearly as good. I reread this like 5 times a year. It's amazing. I love it. Rocky. Rocky is so cute. Oh, I love Rocky. Okay, question number 2. An author it took more than one attempt to read to enjoy their work. Ooh. Oh, I know. V. Schwab. So I have read a few of V. Schwab's books. The first one I read was City of Ghosts, thinking I should love this. It is absolutely everything. It's all of my buzzwords in a book. I was so excited. I didn't like it, and I think it was the writing that I didn't like. Ooh, I can't remember what I read next, but I know I've also read Vicious, again thinking I would love it because everyone loves Vicious. I didn't like it. I'm pretty sure I've tried another V. Schwab, but I cannot for the life of me remember. And then Gallant. This was kind of my last-ditch effort to like V. Schwab, and I was like, look, if I don't like this one, I'm just throwing in the towel and I'm not going to read a V. Schwab ever again and just say, that author just isn't for me. I read Gallant. I gave it 5 stars. I loved it. And I can't even tell you why I loved this more than any others, but I feel like the writing was different in this one than it has been in her previous stuff. I don't know how. Gallant just worked for me. All right, question 3. Your favorite book from a genre you don't usually read? Ooh, what don't I usually read? What about like pure fantasy? Oh, yeah. Okay, genre I don't normally read is like fantasy. I will read like paranormal stuff all day, every day, and it's great. I will occasionally have like a traditional fantasy in there, but like if I'm picking genres, fantasy is pretty low down, but sometimes it works. So I'm gonna go with From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is fantasy. I know for a lot of people it might not seem like that, but for me, who doesn't read like epic high fantasies, this is very fantasy for me. Over 600 pages, and I read this physically really quickly. Wild. I absolutely loved this. I think one of the reasons that this worked for me was because it has those kind of paranormal elements, but in a fantasy world. So we have like the werewolves and the vampires kind of thing. They're a little bit different in this, but you know, you give me a werewolf, I'm gonna read it. Kingdoms and royalty and all those things that I don't like reading, and it worked in this for me. I think a lot of it had to do with the writing of this. The writing was, I don't like saying simplistic, but it kind of was simplistic enough for me to comprehend what was going on. Because I feel like a lot of the times fantasy makes me feel a little stupid. 1, 2, 3. So number 4, a good book you could overlook because the cover is bad. Ooh. Ooh, who has a bad cover? See, there is a book I could choose, but I have the ugly cover, but there is a better cover. Good book, bad cover. I really don't know. Oh, wait, I kind of know. Oh, do I choose this? Oh, now I feel bad. Oh, okay, this as well. Alright, so I have 2 books for this. The first one I chose was Anything But Fine by Tobias Madden. Now, I chose this because I just don't like the color scheme. That's kind of why I chose it. Like, it's not a bad cover. I just am not in love with the colors. But I love this book. Absolutely love it. Did not expect to love it as much as I did, but oh my god. So this is a queer YA contemporary novel, but the romance is kind of like secondary because it really is a like coming of age book, but in a way where it's like a coming of age, because this guy is like, I knew who I was my entire life, and then this one thing happened and now I have no idea who I am, so I gotta figure that out. It's such a good book. It makes me want to reread it. Just like the emotions are coming back. It's a good time. Cover, not so much. And then the second one I chose for this, it's not a bad cover, but if I ever think of what's a not great cover, this one always kind of comes to mind, and that is Upside Down by N.R. Walker. This is a adult contemporary romance, queer, good times, but it's about 2 asexual men being in a relationship with each other, and it's beautiful. I love it. It's a really good explanation on asexuality and the many different facets of being asexual. But yeah, the cover, like, it's fine, totally fine. I think I just don't like seeing this close up of a guy's face times 2. So number 5, a subplot was better than the main plot. Oh, do I pay enough attention to that kind of stuff? Ooh, I don't know. What's a subplot? Oh no. Oh no. No. What is a subplot? Oh my gosh. Do I even know? I honestly have no bloody clue. I think I'm going to skip this question because I don't know what a subplot is, apparently. Anyways, number 6, a book you want to give a second chance. Ooh. Alright, once again, I have 2 books. So the first one I thought of was The Broken Rainbow by Tasma Walton and Samantha Campbell, which is the first in the Nearer Deep Time Traveller series. This is a middle grade Indigenous fantasy-esque story. So it's about this young Indigenous girl who loses her grandmother, and her grandmother gifts her something, and then that something transports her into the dream time, and she has to save the dream time. I didn't love this as much as I wanted to, and honestly I think I was just comparing this so much to Wheeler, the Koori Warrior, which I absolutely love. All 3 books have gotten 5 stars from me. I've had such a good time. These books aren't similar, like, at all. Except for the fact that it's a young female main character has to save the day. That's it. But for some reason, I kept like pitting these 2 up against each other, which is also silly because you see how tiny this is? Wheeler is at least 3 of these. So like, obviously things are going to be different. I think this is for a younger age group. I'm just so annoyed at myself for not giving this the attention it deserves, because it's a really good book. And anytime I've thought about unhauling it because I gave it a lower rating, I'm like, no, this was good. So I think I should definitely reread this and just like enjoy it for what it is, because it's really good. And then the other one that I'm gonna say is An Enchantment of Ravens by Margaret Rogerson. I read this several years ago and I gave it 2 stars, and then I was never able to stop thinking about it for the next year or 2. And so I bought the physical copy because I'm like, I should really reread this because clearly something was drawing me in to this. Wow, sex really does turn people into imbeciles. It does. It really does. Number 7, a book you weren't interested in at all but have been influenced by others to now have it on your TBR. I'm smiling so much because this is perfect timing for the book I just finished last night. Oh my god. A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. I never had any interest in this because it's a like mystery YA crime solving kind of book. Not for me. And it also got so much hype that it put me off it because I don't like participating in hype. So yeah, this was all the rage when it came out and I was like, good for the book, that's awesome, you do you, because I ain't gonna participate in this. And like everyone just like kept talking about it, I still had no interest. And then some time went by and I saw all this at an op shop. It was like $4 and I was like, so I bought it, sat on my shelves for several years, and it kept being one that I was like, if I was gonna unhaul a book, it would be this one. And then I decided to put it on my November TBR gate, and I picked this up first out of my TBR gate. This was the first one I picked up because I was like, I'm probably gonna DNF it. Might as well just like get it over with. I couldn't put this down. I was annoyed when I had to sleep. I am obsessed. This was so good. 5 stars. It was amazing. I am still living on the oh my god, this was so good train because I literally finished it last night. I loved the mystery elements actually, and I thought the writing was fan-friggin-tastic because when like the reveals happened, they weren't shocking. I was like, yeah, kind of knew that all along, but like awesome. At the same time, throughout the whole book, I was like, well, it could be anyone because they all had motives. And they all had like opportunities and they could have all done it, you know? So for me, that feels like great writing when, you know, they weren't like red herrings just for the sake of misleading you. Like everything felt really legitimate to telling this wider story and everything kind of connected and it was like, oh my god, genius. Okay, number 8, a small moment or character in the book that stole the show and sticks with you. Ooh, this is hard. Alright, this was a little difficult, but I'm gonna go with Moth, Me? I suck at whatever this title is, I can't do it. By Amber McBride. This is a novel in verse about this girl named Moth, and her family was in an accident. She is just kind of like trying to deal with the grief of that. The moment that gets me is the big reveal. I wanted to throw this book across the room because I did not expect it at all. I was like screaming like, what the fuck? Nah, ha ha ha. I had no idea that that was gonna happen and I was like, oh my god. And then everything started to like click into place and I was like, oh my god. It was there the whole time and I didn't know. So good. I wish I could relive that moment over and over again. And like, I think if this, you know, when everyone's like, oh, what book would you want to read again for the first time? I think this would definitely be up there because just the feeling of that shock, so good. Okay, number 9, some series take a while to develop. A series that gets better with each book. I'm not a big series reader. I know a series that gets worse with every book. Can you see? It's right on the edge there. Just read the first one. Okay, what gets better with every book? I don't know. I really don't read series. Ooh, Actually, actually, I will do manga. Alright, I'm gonna go with Soul Eater by Atsushi Okubo. This is in the Perfect Editions. This is a manga about these kind of like two groups of people. There are people who can turn into weapons, and then there are people that can wield those weapons. But like there's a whole school where they learn to train and learn to fight, and the principal is Lord Death. One of my favorite series of all time. I'm obsessed. But oh my god, the first volume, oh boy, it is just fan service, and it's disgusting. Because like this starts with like kind of three little, almost like short stories, but they're like the backstory that led to like these three, I don't know, these three pairs of characters having to take a special class because they all got held back. And so these three little stories is why they got held back. And in all of those three little stories, fan service. And it's gross. I hate it. But once you get past that, there's like no more fan service in the entire series. And it's great. And then the story can actually happen and it's phenomenal. But it's just those first little bits that's like, why? Why did you have to do this? All right, now we're on to the last question, which is 3 to 5 books you've never seen anyone else talk about that need more attention. Ooh, 3 to 5. Well, what if I could do them all from my favorites shelf? All right, one that's not on my favorites shelf. Don't fall, please. All right. These 5. So the first one is Darius the Great is Not Okay by Adib Khorram. One of my favorite books of all time. I talk about it excessively all the time because I just want everyone to read this. It's beautiful and phenomenal. This is about a young boy who is biracial. So he has always felt too Persian in America, but then his family goes to Iran to visit family for the first time, and he feels too American when he's there as well. And it's really about his identity and just trying to figure out who the hell you are as a teenager, which is very difficult. He is also dealing with depression, and that is the main theme of this book, is his depression and him trying to deal with having depression and knowing it's a thing that you're never going to get rid of, and trying to live as much of a happy life as you can while you have depression. It's very hard. Another favorite is Bedazzled by Ryan Lasala. This is Comic-Con meets Project Runway. So this is about a cosplayer who wants to like win this competition at this particular Comic-Con, and that competition is like it's basically like a televised live costume creation competition. This guy gets paired up with his ex-boyfriend because of circumstances, and then throughout this book it is going back and forth between now and before. So the before is kind of when they were dating leading up to when they broke up and why, and then the now is like, you know, his ex-boyfriend being like, can you listen to me, like I want to talk to you about things, and this guy being like, no, totally valid. It's again, it's a really like hard-hitting kind of story, but it's also just such a beautiful like geeky kind of love story, and it's so amazing. Next up, my all-time favorite fantasy, this got me back into reading, and that is Seraphina by Rachel Hartman. I love this. This is a YA fantasy about dragons and dragon shifters in a way. So in this society, dragons can take human form, but they're almost like required to identify themselves, and there are like some restrictions on them. They're a little looked down upon. And then we're following this young girl named Seraphina. She is like a music tutor to the princess. And then there's some like dragon attacks happening, and she's kind of caught up in trying to figure out what's happening. There's this whole like mind palace thing happening. Very interesting, loved that. And then the relationship that this girl has with her uncle. Oh my god. It's so sweet. I love the uncle with all my heart and soul. He's adorable. But I don't know, just the way dragons were depicted in this I found really interesting, and I haven't read anything like this before. Absolutely love it. Really wish more people would read it. I think it's great. Next, Peter Darling by Austen Chant. This is a Peter Pan retelling that I'm obsessed with. This focuses more on like the dark side of Peter Pan, which I think is fascinating. And we have a trans Peter, and then he has a relationship with Hook. What happens between Peter and like the Lost Boys and just the world, fascinating. I am obsessed with this. There's not really much I can say about it because it's a Peter Pan retelling. You know, you kind of know what you're gonna get, but this is different. And then last up is gonna be a manga that I am so obsessed with. That is Creepy Cat by Cotton Valent. I love this. This is a 4-book manga, and it's about this goth woman who lives in this kind of creepy castle with her very creepy cat, who she's named Creepy Cat. This cat is not like other cats. This cat can multiply, it can fly, it can shapeshift. Like, Creepy Cat can just do some very interesting things, and I love it. What was also really interesting about this manga series, it is kind of told, like, I don't know, not sequentially, but kind of. So it's like, this is a set story, this is a set story. And then, you know, you go to the next one and it's the same thing. Like, this page is a bit of a story, this is a bit of a story. So it's like comic panels and like, you know, comic strips, right? But, you know, they all do tell this kind of cohesive story, but it really is just about this woman and her cat. And then as the series goes on, more cats appear and more characters get cats, and it's great. It's such a fun time. It's like, it's got some kind of really cute goth vibes, which I love. And like, you know, there are ghosts and demons and it's hilarious. But like, Creepy Cat, so cute. So that was all 10 questions, except for the one about the subplot. I could not get that one. That is going to be it from me, so thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.